someone who is at least as important, if not maybe more, is the manager, Ståle Solbakken. This is how they lined up against Italy. I'm going to use this game, even though it was back in June, because I think this best represents how they're going to line up at the World Cup. When they're kind of building out from the back, they've got this three at the back, so the wing-backs push on, and Sander Berge comes in to help out with the centre-backs, essentially playing through the lines. So he drops into the middle of the three. And then the two midfielders in front of him are interesting. So you've got Patrick Berg, who's closest to us. He's traditionally quite defensive. But the other one's Martin Ødegaard. Now, it's a much deeper role than he plays for Arsenal. You never see him in this position for Arsenal. He drops in to pick up the ball here, and he goes unchallenged the entirety of the way through his half and plays it right the way into their half, because Italy don't know how to deal with that. That kind of dropping in and that 3-2 kind of build-up they've got, it allows the wing-backs kind of further license to bomb on and support the wingers. Now, the wingers in this case, Antonio Nusa, which is fair. The other winger is Alexander Sorloth. That is the heat map of a 6'4" hold-up striker playing on the right wing. And I think his role is one of the most interesting roles of this Norway team. Sorloth there, as you can see, Italy have got the ball and they've given it away. And he is on his proverbial bike coming across from that right-hand side. And everyone here is obviously worried about Haaland on the counter, right? Because why wouldn't you be worried about Haaland on the counter? But Alexander Sorloth makes this direct, darting run across.
Look at this.
Haaland doesn't need to do anything, and he finishes it. But look at that. From there, right the way through to where he ends up receiving the ball, it's really tricky to deal with. And obviously, as I mentioned earlier, Ødegaard missed the last couple of international games. But what do they do without him? So they brought in Oscar Bob. The way that they play is essentially a 4-2-4/4-4-2. And they build up in this kind of, they've got your two midfield base there, and you've got your wing-backs that push up, and they become incredibly direct. They're able to kind of maximise the way that they use their wingers. So obviously you've now got a more traditional winger in Oscar Bob. So they stretch the play massively from this point. They put Oscar Bob out on the touchline. You can see how wide they are in possession there. They tell Nusa to stay wide. They tell their wing-backs to stay wide. Sorloth, obviously, was the right winger in the Italy game. And he hugs that touchline and he comes across a little bit. But when they play more direct, they do play him in that more traditional number 9 role, as you can see from his heat map. He comes much more centrally. Essentially, I think the way that Norway set up is very kind of dependent on the opposition they come up against. And I think that will serve them well, because they can physically compete, and as we see, there's more of a trend in football in terms of physically competing.
Interesting.
But they're hopefully they'll have Ødegaard for the World Cup, and we'll be able to see him fully fit, because I think the way that they can adapt to different opposition and the kind of the balance of their squad is so weirdly unique that I think teams are going to struggle to come up against it. So I think they'll make a really deep run at the World Cup and clip this up when they go out in the group. But,